what do we have here? We have now DXY dropping certainly should help crypto, and down below the 107 level. So we'll kind of go back to watching that. And fortunately too, USDT dominance, I was concerned here when we broke 5%, but it pushed up here, and then I was really concerned. Another reason to wait for end of day confirmations, because so when we pulled back there, I'm like, all right, I still wants to do bar replay. We're not doing bar replay anymore. I'll turn that off. Cool. And so where's my blue? Did I turn off? That's a different chart here. That's why. Hang on a second. Let's look at this in the right context. Okay, so I've got all these other charts saved, and I'll have to go open layout. And I think there's a question or two. I'll get to that one question. So USDT dominance here. This is the real chart where we can overlay the study that we did. Why is this on Cardano? All right, these things are all buggered. Why did that happen? Sometimes I'll get clicking around on these and forget that some of these charts are designed for one thing and one thing only. Forgive me, guys. Here it is. And there it is. Okay, so there we go. Trying to go as fast as I can so I don't bore you to half to death. And I know you guys are busy. So anyway, here we go. Remember this. Now, I could go to a weekly. Maybe that's a little cleaner. Generally, I have it on a weekly, but keep this in the back of your head. We don't want to get too complacent. If you haven't seen this study, you can go watch it on TradingView. If you want me to cover it again, I will. But essentially, when tether dominance comes down to this trend line and bounces, we get corrections. So we have kind of avoided crypto correction zone, which would be above this 5% area. We push right up to it, and that's what the correction we had recently. And this blue zigzag, of course, is from back here. Here, the prior cycle. So we want to be really careful when we start seeing that break up. We're into crypto correction zone. And if USDT dominance, if it pushes up into this 7%, we've got a crash on our hands. I think we still have this going into the summer. I'm not married to that, but it's something to be aware of. And ideally, we're getting out right about here next time if it breaks above 5% on a closing basis. We're going to be wanting to get out and take some profits, and I think that's still possible. And the ideal scenario, though, is we do take profits, let that thing run up, markets crash a bit, 30–40%. We can still see those in these bull markets, but we're in cash to buy the dip as tether dominance drops and markets run again. This is where we potentially could see new highs into the 200,000. Again, this is inversely related. I'll just turn that on so you guys can see that. We've covered this ad nauseum, so I don't want to do it too often. And what happened here? The scale has now completely buggered itself, so I'll turn that off. I don't know what happened to you guys. All right. You guys get that? All right. So basically, this is our plan, and new information equals new decision. We can always, of course, correct, but this is one thing most people aren't looking at. More people are starting to cover it, though. Somebody today was commenting on USDT dominance, and I was like, hey, wait a minute. But anyway, we have a better chart. Watch double bounce. That's what we'll be watching for. And where did now my zigzag is gone. I've buggered the chart. Let me refresh it because I didn't save it. How about that? All right. That should fix it. It went right back to Cardano. Shoot. 1 second, guys. All right, so back over here, I'll get to a question, see if you guys want to comment or anything. David says, yeah, rate cuts are economic news that will lead to rate cuts. Yeah, there's some theory, myself included, that since Powell said he wouldn't play along, and there was a clip of somebody asking President Trump, hey, what do you think? You got to lower rates to get Powell to do it. Do you think you can get him to do it? And he was just like, yeah. So I don't know. How could he do it? He could tank the economy and force the hand of the Fed. So I think they're playing next level chess there, but also playing with fire because these are delicate things here. All right, enough about that. Let's go back to let's go back to let me get rid of this alert here because it's I don't need it over. I'm gonna just delete it. Okay, boom. Distracting. All right, let's see what's going on here. Ave looking pretty good. Wait a minute, what did I do there? CM Pro, perfect. Yes, so Ave, buying out. I would buy Ave at 175 all day long, guys. Use our new mantra is buy green, sell red. Look at this. We were looking at these saying, oh, yeah, I don't think we're going to go down to the green boxes. Sure enough, boom. Buy green, sell red. I'm not gonna argue it. I might lose out on some profits, but guys, when this house of cards comes down, it's going to come down fast and ugly and understand this, that you won't be fast enough. We have to have a plan of taking profits into strength, into these red sell zones. The big players have algos and everything's pre-programmed. And we don't know if it's at a certain price, like $3 trillion total market cap. I mean, guys, we've shown that. It was exactly the top. But for sure, whether it's something like the ERI, where it's velocity or a percentage of loss, or, who knows what their algos say. But when those things go, they just automatically across the board dump everything in the portfolio. And we don't want to be sitting there waiting, holding all of our coins when that happens. Okay? So, and I would have a number in mind what you're comfortable with gains. If you have 20 or 30% gains in the overall market, and we're pushing up above 120,000, get out, take money off the table, sell half, use your criteria, whether it's red sell boxes or your the moon phases or your astrology, whatever your system is, and really think about that, because all is not well, all is not normal in the markets here. The everything bubble looms overhead. Okay. All right. That being said, Phantom Coin, if it's a trend channel, it's not a great one. But data point 1, 2, expand it out to here. That's what I have to work with. Phantom Coin did that. These can be adjusted, but looks pretty good. Oversold on the daily, oversold on the weekly. That looks pretty good, you guys. For Phantom Coin, it was not looking so good yesterday, but look at that. How many of you guys are drawing these parallel trend channels? Crickets. How many of you are not? You won't answer anyway. I know most of you aren't. Guys, listen, I know many of you just kind of watch and nod and okay, yeah, but you're not doing it. So, how do I want to phrase this? Don't come whining back asking me what you should do if prices dump below these trend channels or you lose, I'm giving you the tools. Take it seriously. A little tough love there, you guys. All right, what do we want to look at? Let's look at Sol. All right, David is. Good for you. I know some of you are, but I know some of you aren't. And, knowledge is powerful if you use it. So, all right, Solana came down into the buy zone. Will we dip again? I hope so. I've got buy limit orders in right around this area. And, again, higher low, but we didn't quite come down deeply enough. I mean, if you have some powder dry, I would get some at 120, 125, depending on how much powder dry you have. Just layer this. If we get a capitulation wick, remember we have these unlocks coming this month, next month, and the month after. And there's not a Solana ETF yet. I mean, some of this bleed out is getting ahead of it, but a lot of those unlocks bought Solana from the FTX bankruptcy proceedings at $64. So that's still a 2x for them. I think Sol does come back down in here. And hopefully that's all it does. Some people were today were like, I'll buy Solana if it gets below 100. Clearly they don't have our order block detector. This is strong though. We've got, you can see various shades, meaning there's different concentrations. There's a wide order block of buys. There's another one here, and then this darkest one is the best concentration between 120 and 125. So I'd put your buy orders in at 120, 125, and a little bit above it, like 126, 127, because it wicks down in here. And again, gold star to Scott McKay, and who got it at 129, and I forget who else got some at 126. Nicely done. Feels good, doesn't it? Guys, please do that. Even if it's for $1, set some buy limit orders in these zones, because what you're doing is rewiring your neural pathways. And once you have it hit once, and then you wake up the next day and see that you filled overnight and you're in profits, which Sol has. The coins have their own personalities. It's not that I'm married to Solana. It's this thing's been very good to me in the past in this buy block zone all through here. Get filled overnight, wake up in profits. Get filled overnight, wake up in profits. The Asian market dumps it, the US market buys it up the next day. It doesn't work every time, but look, success leaves clues. So enough about that. But this thing looks ready to drop down here again, a double bottom. I'd be okay with that. And load up on Sol. And hey, look, if it goes down lower, fine. You're in at 120, 125. This thing's going to still go to 500 at some point. It's a good blockchain. It's got a lot going on. And not Rain Dancer, Fire Dancer still coming out, layer 2, proposing 500,000 to 1 million transactions per second, you guys. That's game changing. Game over. All these other layer 2s and SUI this and say that, and who cares? Solana's going to be around. Strategic reserve, you guys. And it has a business model to make money. All right, I'll get off my my high horse there. And hope on, and don't go all in. Look, these things are all volatile, but the point is, seller's pressure, boom, buyer pressure, boom. Let's just visualize it here. So, who wants some of that? Anyway, not financial advice, all that, your own research, but looks pretty good. Hey, this is Brett from Moonstream. If you'd like to learn more about our pro trading signals or our live classes every Wednesday or our Retire Rich program, go over to moonstream.io/start.